Welcome back to Network Africa on Channels Television. Now, as the drought situation worsens in parts of Africa, Ethiopia is calling on international donors to offer aid promptly to support millions of people affected by one of the worst droughts in decades.
Ethiopia urged international donors to offer aid promptly for relief operations to support 10.2 million people critically short of food, and said it was committed to allocating as much as its own funds as necessary. Deputy Prime Minister Demeke Mekonnen was speaking beside UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon during a tour of an area where one of the worst droughts in decades has left children malnourished, killed livestock and damaged livelihoods.
The government is committed by allocating the budget and mobilizing any resources to the target groups for any care. We are committed and responsible. We will continue in this regard. Perhaps the action of the international community is very critical, and that should be on time.
The drought is as severe in some areas as the one in 1984, when conflict and failed rains caused a famine which killed 1 million people. Ethiopia now has one of Africa's fastest growing economies, but the crisis is still straining the nation. Mr. Ban Ki-moon in Ethiopia for an African Union summit toured a small health post in the Vulture area where children are checked for malnourishment.
It's important that when Ethiopian government and national governments are responding to these challenges, they have limited resources. That's what the United Nations is trying to provide. And that's exactly what we are going to discuss in Istanbul in May during this World Humanitarian Summit meeting, which I'm going to convene. We are going to discuss how we can provide in a sustainable, predictable way and to mobilize enough sufficient funding for those people.
Agolcha is in Ziwe Duba district where the main harvest almost completely failed last year. More than 65% of the district's population is dependent on relief food assistance. The north and east of Ethiopia have also been badly hit.
Now to some more interesting news. A solar-powered bus, which has been described as the first on the African continent, has been unveiled by its Ugandan makers. The lovely invention has also been driven in public for the very first time, as you can see on your screens. Kira Motors' Kayola prototype electric bus was shown off at a stadium in Uganda's capital, Kampala. The makers now hope to attract partners to help manufacture the bus for the mass market. For more on this invention, I'm joined from Kampala, Uganda by the CEO of Kira Motors Corporation, Mr. Paul Musasizi. Mr. Musasizi, thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa.
It's my pleasure tonight.
I have to start by saying congratulations to you. How easy was it to manufacture what is known now as Africa's first solar-powered bus?
First, thank you for the warm words. And looking back over the years we've been working, the easy part I could say is just that, looking back and saying it was worth it. Getting the work done was quite involving. It took a lot of effort. It took a lot of emotional engagement. It took everything out of us, but we are glad we're here today.
When you say it took everything out of you, I have to ask this next question. How affordable is the solar-powered bus?
When we look at a solar-powered bus today, it's a bit early to discuss affordability because this is still a concept vehicle.
Yeah.
However, when I look at it today, there is technology which is in here, which we do believe can easily be moved to the production line in a very short time without further investigation. However, the aspect of solar needs to be studied a little bit further to best appreciate what contribution can it make in transportation.
So, could you tell us more about how it works, how the bus works?
So the bus is based on an architecture which has two energy banks. The primary energy bank at any one time delivers energy for propulsion of the bus through an electric motor, an electric transmission line, the propeller shaft to the differential of the rear wheel drive. And then we have a secondary energy bank at a time which is available for charging, either directly using the solar in real time on the road, or back at home you could be charging it using the mains. The issue of primary and secondary is transient. At any one time, any of the two energy banks can be considered the primary and secondary depending on the role it's playing in the bus. The rest is a typical bus.
Well, also at this point, we understand that you're currently looking for partners to help manufacture the bus for mass markets, for the mass market. How exactly is that playing out?
We have a lot of interest from well-established OEMs. Of course, I'm not going to mention right now.
Thank you for not doing that.
Before we close in, I wouldn't like to spook them, but the interest is really humbling, and we are hoping that sooner than later we'll have closed in on that ideal partner for us, and we'll move ahead to develop Uganda and develop Africa and share our joy with the rest of the world.
Now, I'm going to ask a relatively patriotic question. What about Nigeria? How do we profit from this new invention?
Our brothers in Nigeria play a very special role looking at Africa. Today, Nigeria has the highest GDP in Africa, and it also has the highest population in Africa. So as a thriving economy, as a populous country, I think Nigeria provides a very good potential for a market for our product and our technology. And I do believe synergies, since Nigeria, you've been on automotive for a while, and you have very good established industries hosting a cocktail of OEMs. There is a lot that we can share at government to government, business to business, and business to consumer level. And I'm looking forward to an opportunity to start engaging people at all those three tiers so that we can see how we can synergize to aggregate and reap off the development initiatives that are here in Africa for Africans.
Now, I must say that I'm not the only one doing some asking you questions here. I have some of my crew members who are curious regarding how the batteries are charged in this case. Could you tell us more about the technical bits? Because like you said, Nigeria is most likely interested in this bus.
Yeah, so I would want to use the simple example of your solar system where you have the solar panels on the roof. You have a controller, which can be for charging the batteries. And then you have an inverter, which can change the voltage rather than current from direct to alternate current for your applications. A similar protocol actually is in the car. The difference is that for us, we still need DC in the bus. So the inverter is not.
Unfortunately, we lost the answer to that question, but thankfully we got what we wanted from Mr. Paul Musasizi, who was speaking with us from Kampala, Uganda. Well, coming up in just a moment, it's another moment of shame for some of our athletes in Nigeria as 8 of them get banned for doping. Details in just a moment.